5 people, 3 guys and 2 girls, walked along the sandy beach of the Sea of Japan. They laughed cheerfully, joked, and occasionally teased each other. All were in their early 20s, and this was their first trip together as a close-knit group. Not just anywhere, but to Alaska in its warmest month, August. Though the weather could change in literally 10 minutes, it had been delightfully warm for 3 straight days. So the lightly dressed group picked a swimming spot to later boast to friends about dipping their feet in the ocean. Of course, de facto, the Sea of Japan was still a sea, but it belonged to the Pacific region. Amid the cheerful group, only one guy stood out, Andrew. Unlike his friends, he preferred all black clothing and even wore a long-sleeved shirt the color of crow feathers to the beach. The tall, sturdy brunette didn't just like horror, he adored it, especially the zombie genre. One could say he was obsessed. His room walls were plastered with dozens of Walking Dead posters, and shelves held countless books and DVDs of similar content. His hobby repeatedly drew ridicule from friends and relatives alike. Andrew was seen as an infantile grown man with a teenager's mind and temper. This was precisely why he rarely attracted girls, despite his fit, handsome appearance. But personally, it didn't bother him. "Hey guys, why don't we hit a restaurant after the beach? We've been here 3 days and still haven't tried any sea freaks, like mussels, oysters, or scallops." Lucy, a petite brunette in black sunglasses, chirped with a smile. Everyone cheered the idea, except Andrew. As usual, the contrarian twisted his face into a theatrical scowl, gave her a look between disdain and pompousness, and declared, "Lucy, come on. Oysters and scallops? I'm allergic to mollusks. I accidentally ate pizza with damn mussels last week. Been on pills almost a week now." "Oh, Lord. Another tragedy from our wannabe Romero," Michael sighed dramatically, throwing his hands skyward before turning calmly to his friend. "Dude, just skip the mollusks. Eat crab, or order solyanka. What's the big deal? The rest of us won't deny ourselves pleasure just for you." To everyone's surprise, the stubborn arguer quietly agreed and fell silent. It was unclear whether he was offended or pretending for attention. The friends walked on, noisily debating something, while Andrew gazed distractedly around. Suddenly, his expression changed. He shrieked, then launched into profanity while hopping on one foot and clutching the toes of the other. "Hey, what happened?" Michael asked. "I think I bashed my foot on a bottle or some glass shard," Andrew replied. Drops of blood dotted the shore, and the group scanned the sand for the wound's cause, but found only a small hole. Bleeding worsened, his toes paled and grew numb. "Do you need a hospital or at least an urgent care clinic?" Red-haired Marina asked anxiously. "It's fine, just a scratch," Andrew gritted through clenched teeth. "What scratch? You'll bleed out," the girl snapped. "Nothing'll happen. Just help me bandage it, that's all." The friends sighed deeply but agreed. Removing his sandal and leaning on his heel, Andrew pulled a bandage from his bag, and a small switchblade tumbled onto the sand. "Oh, Lord, and now a knife?" Lucy groaned despairingly. "You'll get us all in trouble with that thing someday. Why do you even carry it everywhere?" "Relax, Lucy. Nothing'll happen. It meets all criteria not to be classified as a weapon. Besides, a knife's useful," the wounded man reasoned stoically during the bandaging. The round wound was deeper than expected, and blood flowed stubbornly. "Meanwhile," Andrew added, "a knife's useful, necessary even. Who knows what we'll run into? Walking along and suddenly crunch! Out comes a horde of hungry dead, craving our young, smart brains." Everyone burst out laughing, while Lucy face-palmed. When she lowered her hand, she smiled placatingly and said as gently as possible, to avoid offending his impulsive child persona, "Andrew, stop thinking about zombies. You know what they say. Dwell on nonsense, and you'll attract it. Not zombies, but trouble. Absolutely. As usual, the guy tuned her out, and the group moved on. Soon, continuing their carefree stroll, they spotted a sea cave and, thrilled by the unexpected find, decided to explore it. But Andrew was rapidly worsening. Not wanting to seem weak, by his own metric, he endured in gorilla silence. His infantilism meant he either groaned, burdening everyone with his problems, or pseudo-bravely stayed quiet until things spiraled out of control. Entering the cave, the group marveled further. Inside was a vast chamber, typical of coastal formations. The girls joyfully photographed everything, including themselves, while the guys wandered the cavern, awestruck by its grandeur. Only Andrew watched indifferently. His blood pressure rose. A hammer-like pulse throbbed painfully in his head. Black spots danced before his eyes. Darkness crept in and focus blurred. Thoughts slogged heavily. He wiped his forehead with his palm and felt cold sweat. "Hey man, you okay? Maybe you really need urgent care? You're pale as a ghost," Michael said. "Nah, I'm fine. What's gonna happen?" "Probably just side effects from the new pills," Andrew replied, forcing a crooked smile. His friend shrugged and joined the girls for a group photo. The zombie enthusiast glanced toward the cave entrance and froze. It was abruptly darkening, though his phone showed only 3 p.m. Weird, but maybe that's normal for Alaska? Suddenly, he felt dizzy and wanted to sit, but darkness swallowed his vision, and he lurched forward. A sharp blow to his forehead, then nothing. Andrew woke lying on his back in the cave's center. At first, he didn't recognize where he was or how he got there. His mind fogged, but memory returned moment by moment. He propped himself on his elbows and froze at the scene. Thick white fog billowed from the sea into the cave. A dark night reigned. A full silver moon adorned the black sky, illuminating the space. But what stunned him was the floor. His friends lay there, mangled and dead. Each had a torn throat and crushed skull. Andrew recognized them only by their clothes. At the cave entrance stood 4 corpses, mold and seaweed clinging to them. Swaying, they gurgled in a throaty language only they understood. Andrew scrambled up and screamed fearfully, stumbling backward. The dead turned at his shriek and advanced, growling, blue hands outstretched. His back hit the wall. He darted side to side, desperate to flee. But the reanimated dead fanned into a chain, blocking his escape, and closed in relentlessly. Knowing he couldn't run, Andrew resolved to fight to the end. He refused to become prey like his friends. When the first zombie lunged, he punched its rotten face with all his might, but the blow glanced weakly off its slimy forehead, dealing no damage. The dead didn't rush to tear into him. They grappled instead, likely to pin, suffocate, and dismember him like in Romero's films. Soon surrounded, Andrew shrieked and struggled uselessly. Then he remembered his beloved, finally useful knife. Twisting, he dug into his waist pouch and, on the 3rd try, yanked the weapon free. An upward strike, and the grip loosened. One zombie stepped back, clutching its left side. The others stared in shock at their comrade, then at Andrew. So unlike Romero's films, they feel pain and can be scared, flashed through his mind. The dead mumbled emotionally and redoubled their assault, but he'd already dodged back, adopting a combat stance. The short blade flickered in the moonlight, biting dead flesh. A thrust, and one walker fell, clutching its stomach in agony. Another thrust, and the second reeled backward. Howling, hands pressed to its face. One swift slash, and Andrew split a zombie's right cheek, deep to the bone. Black blood, reeking of decay, gushed out. The first struck corpse extended a hand, gurgling fearfully. The satisfied fighter lunged and stabbed its neck repeatedly. It collapsed, convulsing. Black sludge foamed from its mouth. Its eyes blinked rapidly. They die just like people, Andrew's mind cheered. But no time to waste. 3 foes remained. Next, he attacked one writhing silently on the floor, curled around its gutted stomach. A series of blows to its back and head ended its suffering, temporarily, since without brain destruction, zombies revive. The cheek-slashed one acted oddly. Squatting, it covered its face and wept. The valiant cadaver slayer comforted it with knife jabs to the neck and spine. Seeing their brethren slaughtered, the unharmed zombie howled and scrambled toward the exit, staggering side to side. Screw it. Once I'm out, I'll tell the cops. Now, finish the quiet ones. Romero style. Destroy the brain. Carefully flipping a zombie onto its back, Andrew pondered. His flimsy blade wouldn't pierce the forehead, but the temple might work. Turning the head right side up, he swung hard and drove the knife into its skull, then cursed loudly, ducking and scanning the cave. No reaction. They sleep deep, and this one's motionless. The treacherous knife folded halfway on impact, nearly slicing his fingers. New plan. Just cut off their stupid heads. Awake, they can't control their bodies. Can't hurt anyone like my poor friends. Kneeling on a corpse's head, Andrew stabbed behind its larynx and sawed outward like a blade. Foul, dark blood streamed out. The stench choked him. His stomach convulsed, begging to empty. But he endured, slicing heads to avenge his friends. Grueling work requiring muscle, skin, and vertebra separation. On the next attempt, he succeeded, then yelped and flung the head away. The corpse rolled glassy eyes, silently snapping yellow teeth. Cursing colorfully, he repeated the process on the next body. 5 minutes later, another dead head, teeth clicking, flew into a corner. But as he finished the third, something disrupted the serene dismemberment. 2 bloated, near-black corpses shuffled into the cave, reeking of decay, drowned and unquiet. Behind them cowered the sobbing cadaver that had fled earlier. Cowardly undead brought backup. Fine, I'll take them. Got my knife, and these looked timid anyway. They snarled and reached, but hesitated to attack. Not waiting, Andrew charged, gripping his bloody switchblade. Then, deafening bangs echoed through the cave. Fiery sparks shot from the drowned one's hands. Something struck Andrew's chest, locking his body, then again, and again. Seconds between impacts. He dropped to one knee, but roared, tightening his grip on the knife, and hurled himself forward, cursing everything. More bangs, more sparks. Breathing grew labored. Fire burned in his chest and gut. Andrew collapsed on the cave floor. Shapes swam in his vision. Rage gave way to utter bewilderment. He stared at one shifting corpse, then the other, panting rapidly, then coughed, spitting blood, and whispered, "What the hell?" He died mid-sentence, calmly, without agony or convulsions. Opposite his corpse stood 2 police officers, pistols drawn. Near the entrance, Lucy muffled sobs with her hand. Around her lay Andrew's friends, decapitated, killed by him. No reanimated corpses existed here. The autopsy revealed a potent neurotoxin from a previously unknown cone snail species. No one expected to find this predatory gastropod on an Alaskan beach, not Indonesian tropics. But fact is fact, the toxin, combined with his mollusk allergy and medication, caused the effect. His obsession materialized as Walking Dead, a hyper-realistic hallucination costing 4 lives. Per the sole survivor, after Andrew's injury, he worsened. Friends noticed, but he dismissed urgent care. In the cave, he collapsed unconscious. They rolled him onto his back and debated help, but when they planned to call an ambulance, he awoke violently. First, he screamed and ran amok. When calmed, he raged about zombies and attacked with fists. As they subdued him, he pulled his switchblade and slashed everyone. Michael took a blade to the left team. George was stabbed in the gut, collapsing in pain. Marina's face was slashed. She sat pressing the wound. All pleaded, "We're your friends." When Andrew began finishing the wounded, Lucy fled in terror for help. Lucy underwent prolonged psychiatric treatment, developing fears of knives, darkness, and enclosed spaces. But Andrew posthumously became the inadvertent discoverer of a new Arctic venomous mollusk.